Pressure within the colon causes bulging pockets of tissue that push out from the colonic walls as a person ages. And you can learn, and it says as a person ages. That's just because they put years of abuse in the body. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. It takes many years to damage this body. But then we want a quick fix overnight. And there's a saying, we spend 40 years to get wealth. And then the next 40 years we spend our wealth to get health. Okay? So diverticulitis is another one. Appendicitis. Now, if you're having any type of bowel problems, colon problems, stomach problems, do a poultice of charcoal over yourself or for the people. It's wonderful. And is charcoal expensive?
No.
No. Let's see what diverticulitis, oh no, we did diverticulitis. Appendicitis. Appendicitis is inflammation, the appendix. Now, science says that we don't need our appendix. Do we need our appendix?
Yes.
Absolutely. The Lord put it in there for a reason. But that's coming from an evolution belief. If we believe in creation, then we believe God made everything for a purpose. And that's like the very last stages of a very impacted colon. And the fecal matter is getting to the appendix and it swells. So that sign, when you have that pain, that's a sign that you're really impacted. So a remedy that works well. Some people are iffy about some of this, but I'll tell you what I've learned. And it really is, I did it on myself. First of all, they tell you to stop eating because it's too much food and you're bulging yourself. Some tell you we'll do a colon cleanse, an enema. Some will say, well, you should be careful. I did an enema on myself because we're talking life-threatening situation. Then you take a cloth and you mix castor oil and charcoal and you saturate that cloth. You can heat the oil first, put it on the cloth, and then mix it with the charcoal and put it over the area. It stops the pain instantly. It's excellent stuff. You can also take a capsule of any type of good colon cleanse that you know of. It will help evacuate the bowels. That's what you need to do is evacuate the bowels. And if it's persisting, call 911. And we talked last week, you weren't here, but we should all go and get what? CPR. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call around and see what is the cheapest place in the area and see if all of us as a class want to do it together. That would be a fun experience. But we really should be certified because if you try to practice anything on someone and you're not CPR certified, you can be in trouble. But if you are CPR certified, you're covered under what's called a Good Samaritan Act. And they will actually, some people are suing when you try to help and you weren't CPR certified. They'll say, why aren't you CPR certified? Everybody should be CPR certified. So that's something they want everybody to really do. Okay, number 6. Number 7 is IBS. IBS stands for irritable bowel syndrome. They say the number one cause of this, and we're going to be getting to the treatment, but the number one cause of irritable bowel syndrome, does anyone have any idea? Dairy. And didn't we talk about dairy? Haven't we been saying eliminate, and that's part of our nutrition when we get into the laws of health. Nutrition is eliminating all those products. If you know anyone with IBS, ask them, do you eat cheese, dairy, anything? If they say yes, tell them, remove the item. This is actually an allergic reaction to the dairy products. But they're trying to say this is something else and they don't know what the cause is. God's people know what these causes are. Okay. Irritable bowel syndrome is a disorder characterized by cramping, abdominal pain, bloating, constipation, and diarrhea. IBS causes a great deal of discomfort and distress. Most people can control their symptoms with diet and stress management. And if you apply the laws of health, you have your diet and your stress management. For some people, however, IBS can be disabling. They may be unable to work, attend social events, or even travel short distances. Okay, number 8. I'm going to write it up here. Number 8, Crohn's what's the cause of this? Dairy. Meat eating. I mean, everything that we say eliminate is causing all these problems. Okay, I put the link for Crohn's disease on your paper. You'll get the handout. I'll email it to you. What is Crohn's disease? Crohn's disease is an ongoing disorder that causes inflammation of the digestive tract, also referred to as the gastrointestinal tract. Crohn's disease can affect any area of the GI tract, from the mouth to the anus. But it most commonly affects the lower part of the small intestine, called the ileum. The swelling extends deep into the lining of the affected organ. The swelling can cause pain and can make the intestines empty, frequently resulting in diarrhea. Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease, the general name for diseases that cause swelling in the intestines. Because the symptoms of Crohn's disease are similar to other intestinal disorders, such as IBS, what we just talked about, and ulcerative colitis, it can be difficult to diagnose. Ulcerative colitis causes inflammation and ulcers in the top layer, the lining of the large intestine. So this is what Crohn's disease is. This is just another disease of not following the laws of health. Okay, and then number 9. What do you think is the worst of all the digestive problems, diseases? Who what? Somebody said something. I thought I heard the answer. There you go. Don't be afraid to speak out. Colon cancer. And I have a friend who has this, and he's had surgery several times because of this. I have a relative who had to have a hole in his stomach and walk around with a pouch where fecal matter comes out of. That's humiliating to people. Okay, colon or colorectal cancer is cancer that starts in large intestine or the rectum, which is the end of the colon. According to the American Cancer Society, colon cancer is one of the leading causes of cancer related to deaths in the United States. However, early diagnosis often leads to a complete cure. Okay, so these are the main digestive diseases due to poor digestion. That's what I wanted to cover. We're going to be going over treatment very soon. Now, what did we say? In case of sickness, what? That's right. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained. Unhealthful conditions, ascertain the cause. Unhealthful conditions. I want you guys to be like I was. I want you to hear this so much that as soon as somebody tells you they're sick, this comes into your head automatically. You get what I'm saying? So that, boom, you get to the root of the problem. So in case of sickness, ascertain the cause. Unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected. Then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to reestablish right conditions in the system. Ministry of Healing, page 127, paragraph 1. In order to solve a digestive problem, we need to correct the cause. I said 29 causes yesterday. It's actually 30 because I left out the gluten and the flour. All right? So there's 30 causes. Also, remember the laws of health. Now, we have more than 8, but we talk about nutrition, which we covered yesterday, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. And others will be going over as well. But these are very important. Most people who have all sicknesses they have found is low in vitamin D. Where do we get our vitamin D? Sun. Sunshine. Fair-skinned people, how much do they need?
5 to 10 minutes.
At least 15 to 20 minutes. At least 15 minutes. On a really hot day, see, wintertime is different than summer. On a really hot day, probably 10 minutes, because they'll burn very easily. Okay? Who's that? Is that me? Oh. Okay. So fair skin is at least 15 to 20 minutes. Medium skin, about 30 minutes. Medium dark skin is about 45 minutes, and dark skin is an hour, they say. And these are approximates. So whatever you fall under is how much you need minimum a day. But we're told in the Spirit of Prophecy, get all the sunshine you can. So don't say, okay, I got my 15 minutes, that's it for me for the day, because you might not be able to get it for 4 days. So get all the sunshine that you can. Make a habit of it, but this is the minimum you need. Okay, and we'll be going over sunshine in detail, so that's not today's subject. But vitamin D, we're going to save questions to the very end, just for the sake of time. All right. Now let's keep going.
1 hour.
Now treatment. And this is short today, so we're almost done. Treatment.
Dark skin.
Number 1, we said laws of health, right?
Amen.
Now we know this includes no flesh foods, no flesh products, dairy, butter, milk, none of that. We know this includes no sugar. Every 30 thing that we went over that causes digestive problems, we eliminate those. But I'm going to put up here, remove all dairy, because some people, they forget this. Remove all dairy. Right? Exercise. This is part of this, but this is really important. Alrighty. Increase and animal products here. Remove all dairy and animal products. Now, what do you think I'm going to say here? Someone would say, this is a no-no, you shouldn't do this for people. What do these people with colon problems need? They need increased fiber. Okay? Now let's talk about some of the remedies. Did I mention to you in the last 2 weeks what you can do to promote the good intestinal flora? What'd you say?
Flax.
Very good. 2 tablespoons of flax seeds. Now some doctors will tell them don't do this because they'll have them on a special diet. Okay, then you work with it. But if they're not, 2 tablespoons of flax seeds a day. 2 tablespoons of blackstrap molasses is excellent, they say, for colon health. Doesn't this kind of sound familiar?
Yes.
Haven't we been talking about the 2 tablespoons of flax seeds and the blackstrap molasses? I said, wow, this is amazing. Okay. I found out that turmeric helps strengthen the bowel wall. Isn't that something? Something like turmeric helps strengthen the bowel wall. Okay, now I'm going to read you some herbs for the bowel. Okay, we've heard of, now, if you're backed up, you can get yourself a good herbal colon cleanse. I'd rather you do an herbal colon cleanse than an enema every day. Because you can rupture yourself. Did you know that? Yeah, it's not a practice that we want to be in the habit of doing enemas constantly. We want to fix our diet and change our lifestyles. That's the key. And walking. Did you know, just if you drink water, increase your water and walk, the movement will cause you to have, and I find when I go walking, I have to go use the restroom right when I get home. It really increases your movement and helps your bowel movement. Okay, so these are some of the herbs. Now, I have been taught, stay away from acidophilus because it's animal form extracted. Did you guys know that? Acidophilus is animal extracted.